Good morning, everyone, and welcome to BGA's Tuesday Morning Coffee Talk. These are weekly sessions where we will be providing industry insights to agents. We share product updates, market trends, policy changes, and marketing that will help agents find the sales to grow their business. We post these every Tuesday on YouTube before noon and for our listeners on your podcast platform of preference. My name is Trent Zimmermann. I am your host, and this week we're joined by a man I deeply admire and respect, Mehran Assadi, Chairman, CEO, and President of National Life Group. Mehran, it's good to see you again.
It's great to see you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm sure you remember because you're quite good at noticing little details with people and remembering the small things. But you were kind enough to invite my sister and I out to dinner with my parents and you. I thought you were standing us up, but you're actually in a dead stop less than 5 miles away. So it's good to see you again.
It's awesome. Thank you.
Now, let's start from the beginning. You immigrated as a teenager to Baltimore. How did your family end up picking Baltimore?
Well, I actually came to see my first cousin. So that was the connection with Baltimore. And of course, the rest is history. It was supposed to be a visit and seeing if I'm going to like it or not. And of course, here we are 4 decades later.
How much did your high school girlfriend play into that?
I'm very sure then my girlfriend, now my wife, played a major role in it. However, I really love the city. I love the diversity in Baltimore, culturally, ethnic backgrounds, and it's just a very diverse community. And I enjoy the enthusiasm and the spirit of the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, it is an awesome city. But I do have to ask because I think you have a story here. Did her father actually believe you to be successful?
My wife's father actually was one of the people who believed in anything I wanted to do. And I was very fortunate to have an amazing dad and also amazing father-in-law, or as I like to call it, second father. He was a great man and he was a tremendous role model. So when we talk about the greatest generation, that's who my father-in-law was.
Mm,
So great guy.
good. Now, Baltimore, then with National Life Group. National Life Group's 175 years old. It's 90 years old, older than Baltimore's most famous export, Old Bay. Which one has had the better effect on America?
Well, let's go with longevity, right? 175 years versus 90 years.
Yeah.
And while I absolutely love Old Bay and it tastes great on many dishes I actually prepare because I love to cook, I would say 175-year-old company that is taking care of individuals, families, and business owners and prepares them for the unknown and keeps families together. I'm going to go with that one. Of course,
Sure.
I'm biased. You know
Yeah.
that.
Now, how did you end up at National Life?
I was actually asked to come in to work with the CEO and CFO of the company on a strategic initiative as a consultant. After working for 20 years in corporations, I wanted to build a consulting company, and they became my first client. And believe it or not, I was supposed to be there for 90 days.
Wow.
And here we are. I'm actually in my 21st year with the company. So here's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Don't ever invite me to your house because I will not leave.
So 90 days turned into you running National Life, and when you came in, it was a small organization.
Correct.
And now its growth has outpaced all other carriers through all the financial storms. Um, I know you're partial to Old Bay, but what's your secret seasoning there?
Well, the secret seasoning is people.
Yeah.
The secret seasoning is the fact that National Life is a mission-driven and purposeful company. And we built a culture that is built around servant leadership and service. One of my favorite leaders is Dr. King. And when you talk about Dr. King, people usually talk about one or two of areas that he was an advocate for. I think the highlight of his mission was service. And to that end, our industry is about service. If you step back and think about our advocacy, and also when you think about Dr. King's advocacy, it was clearly around service to all. And to that end, I think that's what National Life Group is all about. We are a company which respects all. We are a company that believes in diversity being smart versus a politically correct statement. It's just smart. Take a look at some of the most successful companies in the world. Take a look at National Life. We have over 30,000 agents, and the diversity within our population has been the secret sauce to our success. But at the heart of it is service, taking care of your neighbor, taking care of your friends, taking care of your clients, making sure that you're preparing them for unknown. That's one of the reasons I believe this is one of the most honorable professions, because it's not just about the most wealthy and affluent clients. We love our affluent clients. We love our advanced sales markets. We actually have a whole department for advanced sales with lawyers and tax attorneys and so on and so forth. We love those clients, but that's 1% of the population.
Yeah. Now, you're talking about this service attitude, and value statements with companies seem to just be something they have put away somewhere. And it was noticeable to me that everyone that I was talking to, emailing with, to set this up, all had yours front and center on their email signature. Do good, be good, make good. Where did this come from? Where did the pride in this come from as well?
So you asked me a question, how do you go from a company with small
Yeah.
footprint to one of the fastest growing insurance companies in the country, top 10 individual life insurance company in the country? It starts with the culture, starts with a vision, mission, and values. So our vision at National Life Group is to bring peace of mind to everyone we touch. No explanation required. What we do is about peace of mind. Our mission is to keep our promises, because that's what insurance is all about. And the whole value statements came from collaboration, brainstorming with my colleagues, and ultimately during one of these conversations, we talked about the fact that our industry is about doing good. As a matter of fact, I created a phrase which is "do gooder." And my youngest son reminds me that such a word does not exist in dictionary.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I just created one. It'd be on the next version.
Right.
So all kidding aside, this industry is about doing good. And in order to do good, you have to be good. You have to be at the top of your game. Whether you're an agent, whether you're an underwriter, whether you're a technologist, whether you're an accountant, no matter which seat you sit in within this community, you have to be good at the top of your game. And you have to be a lifetime learner in order to serve your clients. And that's what we are all about. And ultimately, you have to make good in the promises that you have made, because that's what our agents, that's what our producers do. So the foundation is of our values is tied to what this industry is all about. So it's about our intentions, our actions, and the outcome. And oh, by the way, no translation is required. At National Life, we believe simple is hard. So the value statement we have, the vision and mission statement is something that everybody in the company knows, and they can describe it in their own language versus some corporate talk.
Yeah, it's impressive. And I want to start off with be good and explore that a little bit with you because everyone I've met out of National Life has been wonderful.
Yes.
And I think you've played a large part in building that culture, and you've mentioned that a few times. But when I think of you, I think of curiosity. You're very good at asking questions, and you're curious about it too. You aren't just doing it for the sake of it. So, what do you think your curiosity has played in building your company culture?
I think as leaders, you have to show up as your authentic self. And I learned early on in my life from my father that learning process ends the day you die. So to that end, I've been a lifetime learner. And I think as your teammates underwrite you, which by the way, you get underwritten every hour of the day, all of us, don't kid yourself. Um, they are trying to figure out if you have a curious mind, if you're a good listener, because that's a form of respect, right? That's important to communication. So to that end, I think as an organization, we are becoming better at being a learning organization every single day. So in order to get better, you got to listen to your teammates. Often people hire consultants to help them with their strategy. And what do consultants do? Basically interview everybody in the company and just play back to you what they heard. Well, at National Life, we actually like to do that ourselves. And I think everyone has a role to play in it. And I'm part of the team. My teammates refer to me as the head coach because that's what I do. It is not a hierarchy. All of us in this thing to create something special.
Right. Now, you've mentioned this a few times as well as your commitment on family. And I think that's part two of that be good and do good of you place a high value on family, hence inviting me and my sister when you were just looking to get to know my parents and the company they built, um, and the commitments we have and how you care for them. Um, that seems to also permeate your company. Can you expand on where that came from inside of you and what role that plays inside your company?
Yeah. So first of all, you said I was trying to get to know your dad and your mom. Well, the best way to get to know your dad and your mom is to spend time with their children, right? Uh, to see to see someone in action is to see them with their coworkers, with their family members, to learn more about them. So it was my pleasure to have you and Catherine there, and it was fun. So it wasn't just all business; it was a genuine interest in getting to know your mom and dad. And I would say same thing applies to my teammates. People ask me as a CEO, what keeps you up at night? By the way, that's like the most common question people ask CEOs. And they're looking for some sophisticated answer in terms of the markets, interest rate, economy, and basically the things I have no control over.
Right.
And my response is, what keeps me up is my commitment to 1.5 million clients, to 30,000 agents, 1,200 of my associates, another 500 or 600 consultants who work for our company, and their families. Because when I screw up, it impacts a lot of people. So the concept of thinking about people's families is something which is common sense from my point of view.
No. And I think your care for people has made it easier for them to be on the top of their game. They know that when they're coming into work, they're going into work with people they care about. And one way that's shown itself is the rating agencies. They love you guys. Your ratings are impeccable. So what about National Life has made you stand out when there's so much soft skills that you guys are good at in the data and in the numbers?
Yeah. So I actually love this question. You know why? The things you refer to as soft skills, I actually think they're tangible and hard skills.
Hmm.
Um, we have had to educate rating agencies that what this industry actually does, right? So often CEOs like to talk about uh, mechanics of insurance industry, right? How do we price products? How what is in pricing? How do we invest? Taxation, regulation, so on and so forth. At the end of the day, your clients really don't spend a lot of time thinking about that. Often your clients are assuming you as a professional, you as a professional organization, you're going to do all of those things right?
Right.
So we have educated our rating agencies about National Life Group, its footprint, who do we work with, and as a mission-driven organization, how have we created a movement in taking care of our affluent clients as well as the most underserved segment of the market, which is middle America. Oh, by the way, there are probably three segments to middle market from my point of view.
Mhm.
And the area that we focus on is families of two professionals, income ranges from $75,000 to $175,000, because 75,000 in one part of the country and $175,000 in California, they're totally two different income levels,
Yeah.
right? So I think rating agencies have realized that National Life is growing in sustainable and responsible ways. They have finally learned the whole concept of insurance that you don't have to die to use. Because guess what? Even the most affluent clients do get put on the sideline because of illness. 60% of us are going to have some sort of a short-term disability, right?
Yeah.
So from my point of view, I think rating agencies finally have opened their eyes and they are realizing what this progressive mutual insurance company, which has been around for 175 years, is doing.
You touched on a lot there that I want to dig into. I don't know where to start. Actually, I know
Start
you're
from the
talking
beginning.
about, sorry, what was that?
I said start from the beginning.
All right, let's start from, I mean, you talk about you love your affluent clients, but you're really focusing on middle America growth and serving underserved communities. And well, I want to talk about that middle market. I think there's something in the affluent market that is telling to your sustainable growth. And that's the fact that reinsurance companies seem to like your company, and you're in thin air when it comes to how much capacity you can offer. And I think that's telling of you making good on your promises. So how did you get to that point where you're in such thin air with those reinsurance companies?
Well, track record,
Yeah.
earning their trust. In business, there are contracts in business, there are economics involved, and also something that's not a soft element, which is trust, your track record. So we have a solid track record with our reinsurers, and we have deep relationships with them. We do business planning with them. We know the leadership of the company. They know our leadership of our company. So to that end, I think we have created deep relationships. That's why we got the pen. And in order to get the pen, you have to earn their trust in terms of the way we run our business.
Hmm. Now, track record as well, I think goes back to National Life being the first in many respects to do good with your insurers with the amount of riders that you have. To my knowledge, you were the first major carrier to add critical illness, and you recently added two for those looking to get pregnant and those with Alzheimer's. Talk me through the role these writers have played in your company and why they're so important to you.
Well, we have been innovators of living benefits at National Life Group. And by the way, we started this journey in 1937. So we are not a Johnny come lately. And one of the things we do, we constantly innovate and create. So when you take a look at roughly 740 insurance companies, whether they're public companies or mutual companies, there's only one company which brings the buffet, or for lack of a better term, of living benefit riders to the table. I am extremely proud of my teammates for their innovative thinking around Alzheimer's, because every one of us knows somebody who is dealing with this awful disease. And at the same time, when people think about life insurance, what do they think about usually? Death benefit, right?
Right.
First ever in the industry to introduce life insurance that is about creating life. Think about that for a second. I think it's absolutely amazing, superb, fascinating that the insurance company that's 175 years old is so progressive to create a rider that 2% of couples actually struggle with, to get pregnant, to have a family, right? So it's coming at this whole life insurance with living benefit riders totally differently,
Right.
right? Because when people talk to guys like you, young guys, it's like, man, why do I need life insurance? Well, you can get ill, you can be sidelined, you can have critical illness or a terminal illness, or you can get injured. Oh, by the way, when you're lucky to find that right person, you may want to have a family. And if you can't, guess what? We are going to have a rider that is going to pay for the whole process, which is very expensive. Very expensive. Now, when I talk about fertility rider, you immediately think that you must be offering that to female clients. Wrong. It's offered to male and female. And by the way, let me be very clear. Us men to this day cannot have a baby. I totally get that. Physically impossible. And by the way, as a side note, for those of us actually have had children and we have been in the delivery room, most men cannot stand the pain.
Right.
So shout out to all the ladies. But that's what this company does, right?
Yeah.
Constantly thinking, constantly raising the bar on the industry.
Yeah. It's that one, Alzheimer's and critical illness, I think we take for critical illness, especially, we take for granted. Alzheimer's is new, and I think we've wanted it for a while. But the pregnancy and fertility is such a unique look. And knowing people have gone through that process, it stands out to me as something that is just comes from a moral, ethical basis that I think demonstrates your character and your company's character.
Well, I also got to give kudos to one of our partners uh, who actually lost his mom to Alzheimer's,
Mm,
to inspire us to seriously think about this. So I'm very grateful to our dear friend.
yeah. Now, you've touched on a few times that you are a mutual company, and I think unlike many mutual companies, you're toe to toe with everyone else. If they're public, open to the brokerage space, which leads to two different questions. Why stay a mutual company, and why are you unique in that you can still go toe to toe?
So insurance is a long game. And as a public company, you are literally thinking on a quarterly basis. Our mutual structure gives us the opportunity to put the greater level of emphasis and focus on our number one priority, which is our clients, and ensures that that is top of mind, because at the end of the day, they are our primary focus. And then our agents, then our associates, and also knowing that this is a long-term opportunity and long-term commitment. Something that I'd like to share with you very quickly is the fact that a few years ago, we lost our oldest client, who was 104 years old.
Wow.
She had purchased the policy when she was 23 years old, working at a local grocery as a cashier. And when she turned 100, somebody actually called her from our claims department and said, we have a check that we want to send to you, because she had lived to be 100, right? And she was trying to figure out what it was for, right? So after we explained it to her, I think her intentions were to leave that to her church.
Right.
And I think they made the arrangement accordingly in terms of her future plans. So how many industries have a 70 plus year relationship with their client? Think about that for a second. That's why it's a long game, long-term relationship.
That's a great story. And the amount of impact she could make, just starting off as a 23-year-old in a grocery store.
Yep.
So with being toe-to-toe with the best, your Index Universal Life is the top seller. That's an impressive thing to tout. How did you get to the top?
Well, it starts with our people. It starts with our partnership with our agents, listening, thinking together, creating together, setting goals in terms of why we want to be a top player in the industry. To what end? It's not just about numbers. Of course, you know that. It's about the purpose you serve.
Mm-hmm.
So we picked IUL as a product that in 2005, 2006 was picking up momentum. And the product makes a lot of sense for the client. It's just like when you see new cars today with all the electronics and capabilities, and how they alarm you from preventing you from accident and the hazard, so on and so forth. So when you think about Index Universal Life, it's not like traditional products. Not that there is not a place for traditional products, not that there is value with traditional products. Our job is to give choices to our clients. What is the right product for the client has got to be our primary focus, the need. And I think Index Universal Life today is one of the go-to products because of all the functionality and capability it brings to the table. And our goal was to become number one and follow a leader in the organization that in the business that we have a lot of respect for, and basically compete with them. And without mentioning name, we actually did accomplish that. So we love our competitors, we respect our competitors, and we love to compete with them.
Yeah. So in a summation of what we've talked about, you are top seller of IUL, and you
Yep.
do a good job competing with with all the other big companies out there.
Yes.
You're in thin air when it comes to the capacity you can offer. You aren't just focused on affluent, you're focused on middle America as well. Your ratings are incredible. Your people want to do good and have a high focus on curiosity um, and family, and you are an industry leader in living benefits. All that sounds like good things. So why am I hearing so often from agents that they're just now realizing that you guys are a good carrier? Why is this such a revelation?
I think you got to earn the respect of people who work with you, and respect is earned over time. I think people have always had great respect for the company. However, they didn't hear enough about us because we were not telling our story, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
right? The whole concept of quiet company does not fly in this century. You got to tell your story. And I think we got really good at talking about our vision, mission, and values. And and oh, by the way, something extremely important. While a lot of companies were trying to figure out how they can go direct to the consumer, we said we believe in the value of producers and agents, right? That was a pretty bold statement, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when everybody is investing millions of dollars in figuring out how they can go direct to the consumer. We said there is value in advice. We said we believe that our agents are financial coaches, they're life coaches. And I know as soon as I say this, you're like, geez, stop. What are you talking about? Oprah Winfrey or Dr. Phil? No, that's not what I'm talking about. A lot of clients have bad relationships with money. They don't even know how to ask questions. So, yes, there is plenty online, and there are choices online. I think ultimately people look for advice. And I think in this business, trying to educate people is extremely important. So the headline for National Life is financial literacy. And guess what? People who have plenty of money, they also need advice. Many people don't even know where to start. So putting a stake in the ground that we believe in value of advice was a major commitment.
And it was a good view. I mean, we look at the companies that are going direct to consumer or tried to during COVID and afterwards, and a lot of those products just aren't around anymore.
Oh,
Uh,
a lot of those companies are not around.
yeah,
You're looking at 150, 200, 500, $750 million of investments in a company that they just shut down,
right.
right?
So it was a good long-term view.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was different. You know what? We could have been sexy just like the rest of those folks and say, oh, yeah, this is a different era. People don't want to see people. Everything is online. You've heard these stories, right?
Of
We
course.
actually have you heard the whole concept that when everybody is running to the door, who's actually walking back into the building? That's
No,
exactly what we did. That's how you stand out in the sea of sameness.
I like that. All right. Well, I have just two more questions for you, and these are going to be difficult ones for you to answer. So when are we going to hear about the 2024 Do Good Fest lineup?
You are going to hear about that in within the next 4 weeks.
Oh, great.
And also, here's a teaser for you.
Yeah.
It is going to be the best ever.
So I might have to get a ticket out to Vermont.
I think that would be a very wise idea.
All right, deal. Which,
And I guarantee you it will not disappoint you.
all right.
Guaranteed.
I just in doing research about your company, it was amazing the amount of projects your foundation works on, and that one stuck out to me as being pretty cool. You've had some
Yeah.
great artists in the past.
That's sort of weird. Like
Yeah,
why would the insurance company throw a concert for charity in their backyard?
yeah.
with 10,000 people,
It's awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Dare to be different.
Yeah. And now my final question for you. Uh, where are you on the leaderboard in Peloton with your company?
I have an Iron Man that I have to compete with. I have my oldest son I have to compete with, but I hold my own because it's not only a couple of my family members, my immediate family and my company family. I think some of them still need to catch up with me.
Yeah,
So we like to come. I told you we like to compete.
you do. Well, Mehran, is there anything else you want us to know about National Life before I sign us off?
I look forward to seeing the entire family at Do Good Fest.
I
And I'm going to
I
give
do
you two
too.
options, Vermont and Texas.
Texas is a little closer, but I haven't been to Vermont, so I'd like to go there.
I think you're going to love it.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
think you're
look
going to
forward
love
to
it.
seeing you there. I'll be front row.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. I mean, the secret's out now about National Life, and our agents love it. So I'm looking forward to getting this out
Thank
to our
you.
community.
I
And
appreciate the invite.
with that, thank you all for joining us. We have plenty of these logged on YouTube and your podcast platform of choice. Please follow, like, and subscribe. The more you participate and view this, comment, and ask for more, the more leverage we have to get wonderful people like Mehran on. So like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you next week.